Love your sweater.
I love it too. It's so good to see all of you.
Yeah.
I love you guys.
Ah, so cute.
You guys ready for lots of coaching today? We are going to get started, but first, I posted something last night in the group, and I would love for you guys to, if you have a chance, fill it out. This is the information about your name, program, timeline, price, and I would love. So I said I was going to do social media audits this week. So that just means I'm literally going to go through and just check out your profile, which, oh, who's Sarah? Hey, look at you. And all I'm doing is I'm just going to be looking to see if you've got the information about your program and a video of you explaining the program and a freebie of some sort. That's all I'm looking for is those just three things just to make, because I've been doing a lot of outreach, you guys, and it has been great. I actually it's really like I think the secret of like between like the 0 to like 100 200K area is like literally just talking to people. And I actually ended up getting like some more clients from it. And it's like, yeah, it works when you talk with people about their business. Surprise! It actually helps. So I hope that you guys are getting into that. If you like, I think it's just awesome. And what I've been doing is I've actually been tracking mine every day. So I've been trying to track and actually like make sure that I'm like practicing what I preach, and I'm trying to hit 10 every day. And like that's my goal for the my New Year's resolution. And I would love for you guys to be doing that as well. And when I say the link for your program, I want to start sharing your programs and your webinars and your freebies, whatever your freebie is. I'm going to add you guys to my social media calendar, and I want to start sharing you guys as much as I can, but I can't do it if I don't have your links. So I think I forget who sent me their link. I think it was Shanna sent me her link, but I didn't announce it yet. So I wanted to make sure that everyone had sent me their links. But what you do is you go onto Instagram on your computer, you click the three dots, you click copy link, and then you put that link in, and then you put that link here. And I don't know why it's looking like that, but that's kind of cool. So we'll like leave that. And then like you'll do your webinar. Like I would have done it wasn't Simple Social Media Systems, was the one I did, the annual plan webinar date, and then the link for that one. So I would have done this annual plan webinar, because then what I can do is I can like within and if you guys want to do like just know this for the future, what you do is, this is only because I have a Mac. I am very lucky I was able to get this last year or 2 years ago. But what I do is I copy it from here, and then it can go straight to my phone, and then I can click on it. You can also, right here, if you download Google Sheets, and I'll show you guys what that looks like. So if you go to Google Sheets, it will be the first one that will pop up. You click on Google Sheets, you go scroll over, and then I can click on your link. Click on your link, anticlimactic, then click on the blue part, and it takes me directly to, and there's Christina and there's Sarah. Look, see, I follow you guys very closely. And then when you click on that link, it'll take you to the whatever your post is. And then the coolest thing just happened with Instagram. They have a reminder. Like, so when you post it, if there is like an actual event, it no, sorry. I also got a Bluetooth keyboard. I'm like super excited, but I keep elbowing it. So sorry. But it's like at the bottom, when you go to post something, you can click add reminder, and you can actually put the date of your webinar on here. It's like the coolest thing. And then you can also hit like send like message for details. Like I'll show you. I'll do that real quick. But you click it, and when I go to your pages, not just for mine, make sure your account is a creator mode. It just has to be public, but I think you guys all are because I've showed your stuff before, I think. So you click the arrow, you click, sorry, it's hard to see. Can you guys see that? You click just share to your story. And oh, I think you know what, it has to be for an event in the future. But has anyone done that yet? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Okay, cool. So I'm just going to do a screen recording and I'm going to post it in the group. But what you do is you go to a post. I was doing an event with a girl who I coach. It was social media questions and answers. You click next, and then it says add message button here and add reminder. So if you go click over to add reminder, you can have the name of it at the top. This literally just happened. I haven't seen it before, like last week. And then you click reminder name, it's say Q&A. And then the start time, it was yesterday, but I'll say it's like tomorrow. And then done. Boom, done. Anticlimactic again. Yeah. And then you could have the end time optional. You can literally do it to the hour. You guys see that? And then you click done. And then you could also click add message button. And then it says send a message to you. So I think no one has done it yet, but I think that if you do that, it will, like, someone can actually send you a message directly from your post. And then you click share. It's just like posting it to my page. It doesn't do it for reels, only for static posts. But here it is. And look at what happens when you share it to your story. It has the event. It has the actual time and things like that. So I can be like, oh, if people are free for your webinars, go to them. Kind of fun. So I just made that a screen recording video for you guys. I will share that with you I'll make it like a YouTube video and I'll share it in the notes for today. But I would love to see you guys' freebies, your offers. Once your webinars are done, I will start posting your regular business information. Like I'll post your just regular program. Yes. Oh, and it works with lives too. Great news. Amazing stuff. So super fun. Are there any questions about the social media audit? It's just the 3 things that we've been talking about. Your bio would be cool. Anything like that. Cool. Okay. And I actually made a Canva with the things that I'm looking for you guys. So I will send this out in the group as well. It's quite lengthy, but it's like tag, name, statement, opt-in. You guys already pretty much have this. The highlights, don't worry about them. If you don't have highlights, that's okay. I'm just mostly looking for the freebie, video, and program. Those are like the 3 things that I'm looking for. But you guys, I'm pretty sure everyone already has it. I just took a picture. You guys didn't know this, but when we first started working together, I took a screenshot of your Instagram before, and I want to show an Instagram after we've been working together. And I think it would just be really fun to see. That's update number 1. Update number 2, I tagged everyone, I think in Shanna's coaching. That was awesome. I hope that was very valuable for everybody. Amber posted about like the feeling of being overwhelmed, and I have definitely been feeling that. And I remembered on a podcast, one of my coach, Stacy, mentioned that she did this thing called a 24-hour audit, where actually I think Brooke, who was her coach and where we got certified, she had her list out what she did every hour for 24 hours. Now, I didn't do this. Like, I didn't actually write it down. I just kind of like would track myself. And every time I got off a coaching call, I started my timer on my watch and I just set it for 5 minutes. You could ask if you've got Alexa, if you got your phone, like anywhere you want to do it. And I would see how I use that time. Y'all, I have been wasting so much time and I was feeling really stressed and overwhelmed. Like, I was like, I can't take on 4 more clients. And then I looked at how I'm spending my time. Do you know how I'm spending my time? My brain, and might be like your brain, thinks it's very important to respond to people. This is how I found my like little surprise like issue with my time. It thinks that responding on Instagram messages is very important. It thinks that responding to text message is like the most important, and emails. Y'all, I was spending like, I'm not kidding you, like maybe 2 hours a day just responding to people in time that I had not allotted for responses. We want to respond to people. We don't want to do it at like the cost of your whole day getting derailed. So what I would recommend is just, this is if you want to actually do an audit, feel free to go for it, give it a try, but you don't actually need to write it down. It's just a way for you to be more mindful. If you're like, oh my God, I've got so much to do, I'm so overwhelmed, you might be wanting to spend your time with, just see how you're actually spending every minute of every day. You don't have to share it, but make sure that you're actually spending your time with things that you've intentionally chosen on your calendar for your business. The next, so if you want to do that, I would just suggest it. I think it's fun. So that is all the updates, I'm pretty sure. Social media audit, programs, 24-hour audit. I think that's it. Are there any questions about that? All right, who is ready to get coached this morning? Y'all better bring it today. Oh, I remember something else. Well, someone raised their hand while I'm saying this, but just an example on B minus work. Sarah, I'll be getting to you for a sec. Y'all, so the webinar I did last week, really great content. It will be revamped for you guys. But one of the things that I did is I worked on this webinar for hours. I did a presentation for a corporation. It was one of the many things that I've done to try and grow this business. And I spent until 3 a.m. editing this webinar. Like, I spent a ton of time this summer, the most time I've ever spent on a webinar for this presentation. And I thought that I didn't really need to look at it because I spent so much time this summer, and I was like, yeah, the webinar's already done. It's actually great. And so a moment of learning that I would love to share with you guys vulnerably is that I didn't really look at the webinar until 2 days before. And it was nothing related to anything I wanted to talk about. I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, this was literally related to CEOs of television companies, and all about work-life balance, not at all about goal setting, annual plan, or anything. And I panicked and I was like, this webinar is this Wednesday. What am I going to do? So I edited it literally down to the minute. And this is why I tell you to do this in advance. And it was a really good moment of learning for me, is that this is why we have protocols. You actually do, even if you've done the presentation before, look at the presentation before you do it. Please learn from my mistakes. It was good, but for me, it was D minus work, and I know I could have done better. So just a moment of, and I was freaking out. I was I had all this pressure. I was there was the most people who would ever attended my webinar, of course, came to this one. That's not what it always works, right? It's when you're not wearing makeup and looking gross, and someone's like, "Are you a coach at the grocery store?" And you're like, "Yep, that's me. I'm a coach," and all the things. So it's whenever you're not prepared. So I'm teaching you these things in advance so you're prepared. Learn from me. I'm not perfect at all, but I am here to help you because I think I'm a couple of steps ahead. And one of the things that ahead being a very arbitrary, what is ahead in life. But yeah, just learn from that. And I had a 5-second funeral. I was upset afterwards. I was like, that didn't go like I wanted it to, and it's okay. And so I had what I call Stacey said, a 5-second funeral. I did my eval, and then I rage outreach. I was just letting out all my anger, and I was like, I'm just gonna find new people and it's fine. I was like, everything is fine. And someone signed up the next day. And so it's use things for you. Everything is happening for you. You're either learning or you're earning, and it's all going to work out. I promise. Don't give up. That's like the biggest piece of advice. Never give up. Your business will always work. Sarah, tell me, what do you have going on today? I know you have a cough. You said you had a cough or something?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. Yeah. It was
Okay.
like mid cough, and I was like, oh no. I was like, if you need some, that's also fine.
So I figured I could use some coaching on outreach. I've been definitely more proactive about it, but I feel like for me, a lot of the outreach that I'm doing is to a colder audience.
Okay.
And I still find myself, I feel like my approach has been more timid than I would like it to be.
Okay. Well, and I think that whenever we're like more timid or like things like that, it's usually because of a past experience that wasn't super grand. And your brain's like, we don't want to do that again. So usually it has to do, it always comes back to your past. Isn't that fun? The only thing, it's like there's a book called The Mountain Is You, and it's like all about like how you're the only thing standing in the way of your goals. So let's talk about it. So you go to do outreach. I want you to picture yourself like literally sitting down. You're on the computer, reaching out
Mhm.
to the cold audience. What happens?
Um, I think a couple things. Like, I assume most people won't be responsive,
Hmm.
or that they will make some judgment of me reaching out. Like that I'm like on the prowl for clients.
Yeah. Yeah. That's not fun for sure.
Mhm.
And I think we've all been there where we're like, it feels awkward when you're like in that moment. Now, I want you to think about when you are doing that. I'm guessing like it's like what do you think they'll judge you for?
Um,
You're on the prowl, like, but I'm guessing it's something like on the prowl for them, like I think there's something else that might be there. I could be wrong.
I mean, just like the typical stuff of like being salesy, um, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Sort of that.
And I'm guessing what happened is like, so your nervous system actually registers things that are going on from other past experiences, but it could also be like something that you saw someone else go through. So I'm guessing that like you saw someone else, either someone else like approached you about coaching with you and it felt salesy and unwanted. And there was also maybe something like because someone was salesy, maybe something happened where your brain is like, it's unsafe to be salesy or something like that.
Mhm.
Like, what would be so if they judge you for being salesy, what's going on? Like, worst case scenario, what happens?
I feel like I've gone down that path like a million times, and I know like worst case scenario is like really not that bad at all.
Okay.
Most people will just not reply at all. Um, and then if someone does have some sort of a reaction, I know what my intentions are, and I'm definitely not in a place where I feel needy at all or anything like that. And I feel like I could totally handle someone having a reaction.
Yeah. So there's that version of you. that's like, yes, I can totally handle it. It's totally fine. Intellectually, I understand. My brain's just having a response. But your subconscious is like, I'm guessing the reason why you're more timid than your prefrontal would like is your subconscious is like really fighting it. And so, like, there's something there. And there's also the option. So there are two options here. We can solve for the timidness, or we can just be like, I'm going to do outreach and I'm willing to be more timid than I would like. And it will, like, I trust that it will work its way out later. You know what I mean? It's like, I would love to.
I've been doing that over the past week, but I feel like it's just one of those things where I do want to just rip off the band-aid on it because timid is not, it's creating timid results.
Which you know, okay? So it's like, but don't beat yourself up for it. But it's like, okay, so it's like, how can we help your brain to feel like safer? Because this worst case scenario that you played out is not helping you at this point. You know what I mean? It's like when, you know, when like I think someone was like, I've coached myself through this, like a bunch, I forget who it was, but they were like, I've coached myself through this. And it's like, clearly, well, this angle might not be working. You know, it's like, maybe we need to try a different angle. So, like, again, like logic aside, don't let your prefrontal like try and stomp on your subconscious because it's clear it's not working. So it's like, what is your subconscious like scared of? Like, if let's say, like, really, like, it's not just that people won't reply, it's something else. I'm sure of it because
Well, what I figured it out is that it's like being lumped in with like the opposite of what I stand for in terms of my values,
mm,
like being it does definitely tie into like past experiences, having gone through a business coaching program that was very predatory in their approach, and to be lumped in with someone like that or like that style is like definitely doesn't sit well with me.
yeah,
But I know all I can do is just focus on my intentions and focus on the people who will be helped, but it just still doesn't like overpower that
okay.
part
So
of me trying to protect my self-concept.
but like when you try and like play whack-a-mole with something that's actually like a really, really beautiful thought, what happens is it's just going to keep coming up and it's going to, you know what I mean? It's like you're trying to be like, I don't believe that at all, actually. And, but you totally believe that. This, your brain believes that like you're going to be lumped in with the opposite of what you stand for, your values.
Oh, I will. I think it's like an inevitability of direct messaging is the reality of it, just because there have been so many coaches out there who have used it.
For,
And so people make the association with the tool and a certain intention. Um, Obviously, that's not the intention with which I'm using that tool, but
I know.
you know, people will misinterpret. It's just kind of an inevitability of doing that.
Yeah. But what you're missing is that like your value, like, I mean, you have, I don't know if anyone has been watching Sarah's stuff lately, but you have been doing like an awesome job on social media. You've been very strong at like your stance about things, about what you stand for in the coaching community. So of course, like that's who you are. Like, I mean, you are showing up very authentically. It feels like, as someone who knows you, like it feels like you're final, like it feels like you, I'm really seeing you come out of your shell in a way I've never ever seen before. So first off, like let's celebrate that. And you want that same version of you to be jumping, to be messaging people, and you want them to see that.
Mhm.
It's not a bad thing at all. Like we want your brain to like your intentions of your business are pure, yes, but it's like, yes, there could be the situation where you're lumped into the opposite of what you stand for, the opposite of everything you're like going into, right? And your
Yeah.
brain is like, I do not want to be lumped into that because that's not who I am. It's against every fiber of my being to be someone who's predatorial. I'm truly here to help. And that's a genuine fear that we need to like, you need to allow that fear to be there and be like, because I think that you just like haven't allowed it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like it's like, and to your subconscious, not to everybody, but like the fear is something that like you don't want to be like pushed down from your values. That's the big thing that's going on. And I'm guessing that's where some sort of big T trauma happened, or some sort of thing in your past where someone judged you that was where you stood at the opposite of your values, or like you saw someone else go through it.
Well, for sure, I like can track back the origins because in the beginnings of the like wave of coaches who used DMing, you know, having been in a business program where they use that as a tactic, but in a shame-based way, and like they're racist. It was like horrible. And I left the program because of that, but and lost a ton of money. But also my nervous system went through that shock period of messaging. They want us to message 100 people per day. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, so for
Yeah.
sure. And I can put that aside too. And I do feel like I've done a good amount of integrating, but there is still that. I know it won't take too much to like unblock it, but I still feel that little like
Yeah. And like we need to find out what that little is. That's what we need to get curious about and be like, okay, I hear you. Like, let's like when you're in that moment, like it's a beautiful thing. It's like you don't want to hurt people, you want to help people,
Mhm.
you know? So like that part of you that like, and this is something like I like to do. You don't have to close your eyes. It's a very like we're in a group, but everybody loves you, and like I think it helps. But like I like to like close my eyes and like actually see that version of me who is going through that situation at the time, and like actually seeing her, like I'm sure it was like a mix of shame and just sadness about the thing that you brought you so much joy to be used in a different way. And
Mhm.
she's scared, like, because she's like, okay, this is not something that I want to be known for. I want to do things differently. Can you talk with her if you can see her? And everyone feel free to like use this because I'm sure it's coming up for everybody.
Mm,
Or is she like, does she have like a wall up between you and her?
no, I could
Yeah.
bring myself back to that time.
Yeah. If you don't mind, if you feel safe, I think
Mhm.
it's pretty helpful. So it's like just taking a look at her. Ask her like, how is she feeling right now?
Um, like it was like a mixed bag of emotions of uh like fear, overwhelm, really kind of scarce and desperate.
Yeah. And I want you to like hold her hands or give her a hug and say, thank you for going through this. I'm so, so grateful for you. And then I want you to tell her like all the things that have happened since then, like you working for scholars, you doing all these things. Like, and like one of the things I like to do is I like to tell her how old I am. And that, like, yeah, that was a really funky time, but that's not who you are. And that's not who you became. You became a person who stands for what you believe in. You became a person who's changing the industry standard. And just because you're using like a tool that you saw misused before does not mean that you are becoming them. Because that's what she's scared of, I think.
No, like I know in my core that I'm definitely not like them, and I was naive at that time to buy into that
Mm-hmm.
um without doing my proper due diligence.
Mm-hmm.
But I was also misled, and they were praying on that so I can appreciate my vulnerability. I just don't want to be, I mean, I don't have control over that at the end of the day. Like, I don't want to be associated with what those kind of tactics are.
Mhm.
Um,
How does she want you to not be associated with it? Like what, because she might have an idea. So let's ask her.
I mean, I think it's just like I've been more vocal about in my content is um, advocating for my vision of the life coaching industry and what doing business in that industry could look like instead of how I see it being done and being able to talk about the problems.
Yeah. Can you show her that version of you?
Mhm.
Does anything change?
No.
Okay. Does she feel like, I want you to picture her in that moment, and I want you to see what she needs to feel more empowered.
Mm, I'm not sure.
Okay. Does she trust you?
Um, I don't feel the presence of that part right now, like that past self. Like, I don't know that she needs to trust me. I trust me in this present moment and the maturity that I'm operating from now that I probably did not have then.
Yeah. But in order to like, I think it'd be helpful and to like bring her with you on this journey,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So what does she need to do to come with you?
Mm,
Because I think like there might be some like walls that she doesn't want to, like she wants to be back with this, but she doesn't feel like she can come with you now. I don't know, maybe.
um, mm, I don't know. No, I don't really feel like I'm uh that she can't come with me, whatever that means exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I'm a matured version of her, and I don't think that she's bad or wrong that I operated from that place. I think all I can do is better advocate for myself now and
Yeah.
for my values.
Can you see her standing in a really empowered state? Like she left, she did not, she won't continue. And if it doesn't feel good, you can always stop. You don't have to do it. But but she wants, there's other desires that she has that this could be a way.
Mhm.
Does she
I think
feel strong? Yeah.
reframing it in that way, because like stopping is just to like allow myself to be maximally victimized by that whole situation. For people to take something that's very human, building relationships with them, to turn it into this manipulation thing. And then for me to say, well, I'm just going to stop building relationships with people because some people used it to manipulate is kind of crazy. So I think it's just, um, I think it's just a little, I know this. And so it's just kind of getting momentum going with it of exposure therapy and just doing it. And then maybe just looking at how can I make it easier for me to
Yeah.
do it initially.
And be kind to yourself. Don't say that you were crazy. This, like, it just because something happened to you doesn't mean that you're like a victim if it impacted you. If we didn't have things impacted us, we would be robots. And that's not something that we want to do. So
And
we're
it's
thankful for
easy
that.
to go land in that place where it then becomes a reason to like not be taking action and I'm just being kind, but it's not kind though to just continue to play super small when I know I know what kind of service I can provide to other people and I'm not doing that just because the way to deliver service is through relationships and then I'm not doing that because of a past experience.
But we want to have like there we can have so much compassion and then we can move forward. And if you start to feel and tell her if she starts to feel triggered, you can pause, take a breath, hold her hand, and then keep going. Would that help her to feel like safe enough to go through it if you like actually listen to her instead of like trying to hide her?
Mm, I don't know. I think she's had a little bit too much of a voice until this point of it's just become this justification to hide behind content and stuff.
Okay.
Maybe it's less compassion, more courage.
Okay. Courageous compassion. Let's go with like combining the two because like we're going to understand where she came from and then also knowing that you're in control. You are driving the ship and she's also is really strong. She overcame a lot of things and we're really proud of her and we're going to put her aside for now.
Mhm.
How does that sound?
Mhm.
So one of the things I like to do is I like to envision like a glowing orb in the middle of my chest. And I like to see that strong version of her, the one that you're really proud of for getting through this. And I want you to see her slowly start to dissolve and like start to go into that hole of you. And I want you to allow that white light to just fill you up. And then when you're ready, go ahead and blink open your eyes.
Mhm.
I think you're ready, but also be kind to yourself. You're a fucking badass, Sarah. You've also been doing all these things to do the content in your business. You're like almost doing like tsunami exposure therapy, which is, so that's a way that you can do it. It's for sure a way that you can make it happen. But also know that it's a lot of change. Your brain is resisting the change. Recognize it, think it, and then continue forward. But you don't need to like keep pushing yourself to the point where you're like, because what happens is then you have a breakdown, and we don't. That's not necessary right now. We don't need to have a breakdown. We can continue to move forward. But it is like you can do it like the 75 hard too, where you're like, yep, we're gonna make it happen. But I
Mhm.
really, really appreciate your vulnerability here. Like, I think that all of us feel that, like, especially like in our society, I think that like we never want to hurt people. Like, probably all of the like trauma responses, right? Fight, flight, freeze, and fawn show up for everybody when you're doing something that is as I think misunderstood maybe as outreach or doing something that's just very out of your comfort zone. And we want to make sure that we're giving time and space for that. And also moving forward, because I know your business is meant to help so many people. And maybe even just having that vision of you, like on our consult, you were talking about like doing retreats and things like that, like having that vision of what you want beside the things that might be like holding both and making space for that gray.
Yeah.
How are you feeling now?
Yeah. I think for me, I think it just really comes down to making decisions ahead of time about what my approach is going to be and just sticking to that so that I'm not kind of in freeze when it comes time to send a message. If I can think through ahead of time what I want that initial point of contact. And I think having webinars is a nice kind of transition place or
Mhm.
introduction place.
I
So
think
I
that's
think
a good idea.
that.
And I know that you already know this, but like reminding, like, it's not like you're gonna hold these people's feet to the fire and be like, you must work with me. Like, it will be really great. It's like anyone that chooses to work with you, if you do outreach and talk with them, it's a conversation. It's not like you're going in like hard as it's like, hi, I'm Sarah. Work with me right now. And if you don't, I'm gonna hurt you. It's like, no, you're being like, hey, I see that you have a coaching business. I actually coach people who have coaching businesses. Tell me about your business. Why did you get started? What makes you so excited to be a coach? Like, and it might be like, what are your goals this year? What are some things that you want to accomplish? I see that you like help people with like with overeating or something like that. And it's like, hey, I have so like been there. I actually was you could start with something that like I actually have a whole podcast all about overeating, and I actually have a client that I still work with on overeating and those kind of things. And so it'd be like finding that commonality, finding that place where you feel safe to connect, because you have so much wonderful stuff to say. And when people talk with you about their businesses, it feels fun. It doesn't have to feel shitty. And it's like, but you have to get, maybe it's like, I like to think about it like, have you guys ever like been to the beach and like, how like sometimes there's like the waves at the beginning and it can get like really funky at like the worst part where it's like at your knees and you're just like kind of like, oh my God, it's like, we just need to get out to the sandbar. You just need to get to the, it's like give yourself a hug and be like, we are getting to the sandbar. It's going to feel a little funky right now. I'm going to get some sand in my bathing suit. It might not feel great, but we're going to get to the sandbar and it's going to be fun. And then we'll be able to jump the waves. And this is the wave we're in. Now I was like, just make sure that like, and I'll send the nervous system podcast, but like you want to stay in the I can, you please don't want to get to the I can't. So if you notice yourself being like starting to be like, just like take some breaths and then be like, hey, we're safe. We're okay. Like I literally like for this whole year, my mantra has been like, I'm safe. I'm okay. Every day I would find 5 reasons why I was safe to love Rob, who I love. And it was like crazy. But like my brain was like, it's not safe. You've been left before. It's going to happen again. And it's like, brain, we're good. It's okay. But it took a lot of work. So just it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. I know you're meant, like the sweeping impact that you're making is inevitable. I know it. It's just going to take getting through the waves, but you're going to make it. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Of course. So proud of you guys. I love you so much. Who else would like some coaching today?
I would love some coaching.
Amber, let's do it. Yes.
Okay. So I have had kind of a unique problem come up where I am scared of my clients getting results too quickly.
Oh my God, I've been there.
I used to be like, oh my God, my client's never going to get results. And I struggled a lot with thinking I wasn't a good coach. I didn't know I was doing.
Yeah.
But now I have like all this evidence that I do know what I'm doing. And all of my clients, like the past like 3 of them around the 2-month mark have like totally stopped overeating and are like, yeah, I'm good with my eating habits.
Okay.
Which is awesome, but mine's a 6-month program. And I have like 2 clients who are about at the 2-month mark right now. And then I have one client who, when she got to this point last month, she actually wanted to quit because she was like, hey, I'm good. But we kind of talked about it. And I realized she just needed a new goal because eating, like she had to accomplish her eating goal. So she just needed something new to work on.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still like this fear around they're going to get results too quickly and they're going to want to quit. And then I lose that money.
Yeah. And that comes back to like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Like your basic foundation for safety is like, if they quit, then they stop paying you. And then if they stop paying you, then like, I literally can't, like whatever XYZ, pay the bills, like whatever kind of things that your brain is going to. And that is actually like a very weird, just everybody know, you're probably going to have this fear at some point. Like, I think everyone's experience, like Sarah, like, thank you so much for talking about like the outreach fear, because like everyone has had that fear, I promise, in a different flavor. and this is also going to come up. So I coached for 10 months and people were getting results like month 1. Like they were like, my whole life is different. And I'm like, great, let's keep it going, please. And so the fear of them getting results too quickly and quitting is super valid. And I want, like, so within getting the results within that kind of space, I think that might have to do with a fear that people are going to stop coming.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because it's like, if they quit, then there could just be a new client that I have a fair amount of demand, it seems. But I think your brain has some sort of like, the other shoe's going to drop. They're going to stop coming, something that's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've actually thought about it because like there's like this one kind in particular, because I do have like the 6-month contract. So I think that kind of, people have that in mind. But this one client I have who's like about to head into month 3 in like a week or 2. I think I remember getting coached on this. I made like a special exception for her where she was like, I can't commit to the 6 months. So I was like, okay, we can do it on a month by month basis, but you're allowed to quit the program if you need to. So she is on like under the understanding that like she's allowed to quit. And so I'm just like, well, she's doing so well and now she could quit. But I also have the thought that I'm charging her $365 a month. And now with my new prices, the payment plan would be around $700 a month. Okay. So I'm like, if I got a new client that replaced her, I would be making significantly more.
Yeah, but your brain still is like scared, of course. Yeah. And like, I actually just had a person say this just this past on Saturday. Like, it was a friend of, like, long story. But anyways, but like, she was like, I want to do month to month. And I was like, okay. And I like thought about it for a little bit. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take her on. And as long as she so this is where there's trust. Like it's the like trusting that whatever, there's just trust in 3 different, in the belief triad. Remember that, like, belief triad? So there's trust of like, and I like, instead of in your business, I like to think about like the universe. It's almost like trusting like the world, like just like trusting that, like, I don't know like why things happen. And I think I might have mentioned this like last week, because I don't necessarily think that everything happens for a reason, but I do think that you can find a reason for everything. And I choose to think that like within our lives, we're on this journey. We're like, literally, if you think about how crazy it is that we even exist, like I was talking, I don't know if this is like, I don't do drugs like people, but like, I like literally was like, we're just like rocks. Like we're like beings that like are on rocks in like space. Like that's like, isn't it insane that we can like start business? And he was like, are you okay? Like, are you well? And I'm like, no, but it's just like, I don't know why we're here. I don't know. Like, I'm not going to pretend to know the secrets of the universe, but like, I do feel like it for me, it's better to believe sometimes that like, maybe there could be a bigger scheme that I just can't see. So instead of being like, I'm just trusting in this like thing personally, this is my total preference. Everyone can believe whatever they want to believe, but I like to think that like, I also am in control of that destiny and I'm going to make it happen. And so instead of it being like, because I feel like clearly you have an innate gift for coaching. If your people are getting results this quickly, I think it's something you were supposed to do in this world. Like, I think that's pretty clear. And everyone on this call, you guys all had that feeling when you got coached, when you first started coaching, you were like, this is what I want to do with my life. It's amazing. So within that, let's say they quit. Your clients, all of them quit.
That's where my brain goes. I'm like, what if they all quit though? They all just get results in 2 months, which I know everyone goes a different place, but I'm like, they're all going to quit at month 2. They're all just going to be like, all right, thank you, and leave.
Yep. And let's say, okay, because I think that your brain has been like trying not to think about that. And almost by not thinking about that, it's been freaking out about that just under the surface. And so let's go there. They all quit month 2. What happens? Then what are you going to do?
So that I'm not making any money.
Not making a dime.
I would probably have, well, let's say I have 5 clients right now. If they all quit at once, I would have 5 really amazing testimonials all at once.
Okay, you're looking at the good side of things, which I want you to go there, but just not just yet. Let's stay with your
That side. Okay. I wouldn't make any money. I feel like I'd feel like this like panic that I'm like, oh my gosh, now I have no clients. I need to replace all of them right away.
Yep.
So I'd kind of feel in like this desperate energy of like, I need to get all of them now all back at once.
Mm-hmm.
That could be a lot of work.
Lots of work.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is where your brain stops. All of us. This is where, like, I mean, for me, literally until like, I just want to let you know that it actually does, I think, get better. Like I'm like, I don't know. I'm not for sure because it's literally shifted within, like, since October, it's shifted from like, I'm going to have to go back and teach and it's fine. Everything. And like, I made peace with it to like, I actually do think that this is going to work, you know, but within there, okay, let's say you have to do lots of work, right?
I thought of another thought. It's almost like maybe they're lying to me about the results. Like almost I don't believe that they're getting results that quickly. I'm like, how is this possible? Like,
Yeah.
are you actually totally free of all of your eating habits in like these 2 months? So I'm like, maybe like my mind's going to like, maybe they're just trying to like get out of it. But, like it's like when you're talking about like feeling safe with Rob, like your boyfriend, it's like this fear like that they're leaving me. And
Yep.
Even if it's like a good reason, like are they actually still like being left?
Yep, being left. Yep. So fear of abandonment, like it's like that's what I'm saying. Starting a business, it'll bring up all your stuff. You know, it's like there's just so much stuff. It's like that happens. So there's probably something within your past where you felt safe, you felt like things were going well, and then you were left.
I know exactly what it is. It was my first client ever. She ghosted me.
Yes. Oh my God.
Like 10 weeks in, we had like 2 weeks left. I thought everything was good. She was like kind of talking about maybe going on diet the week before, and then she never talked to me again. I reached out to her. Like I thought things were going great.
Yeah.
And she just never responded to me.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that's what's underlying all of it.
Yeah. And so why does your brain tell you that she left?
I think about like the last session that we had, and I think that I did something wrong. Like I was kind of trying to coach her out of like not going on a diet. And I was thinking like she probably just wanted to do it, and maybe I should have been like less opinionated about it. That resulted in her leaving me.
Okay. What, and this is not like, what if you actually did like verbatim, like you actually did something wrong? Like what, let's say we could prove that there's like a right or wrong. Why is your brain trying to protect you from doing so? Like, I think your brain is like similar to Sarah. It's like, it doesn't want to doesn't want to hurt people. It wants to help people. And so it's scared that something happened here. And because of this situation, you're afraid with the other clients, potentially.
Yeah, and kind of similar to Sarah, I'm like, I know that like even if I did do something wrong at that time, I know how much I've grown since then. Like that was like my first ever client. Like I really didn't actually know what I was doing. Like I knew a little bit, but like it was a big kind of experiment to kind of figure it out. Like first time ever doing one-on-one coaching. Like I don't have a certificate, so it was just like, all right, we're doing this. Let's figure it out. And I think I was more in like advice mode versus coaching mode. So I know that like there is part of me that I'm like, okay, like I can kind of see maybe where I went wrong in some aspects and was more telling as opposed to asking her things.
So I'm going to tell you something about what happened when I first started coaching. I think I shared with you guys, I started coaching kids, and I had taught all three of them. Like when I had started, parents reached out to me. One of them had this disorder I'd never heard of, but I was like, yeah, like I can try, like we'll just like keep an eye on things. And it was literally like, I think month 2, we'd only met like 5 times and he lost it. He was in 4th grade at the time. And this kid literally like just went off the rails, like not okay. Had to be and he like we had coached together and things like that. Turned out he like lost it so much he had to be put in like a school, like a separate school. He had to be taken, like literally a separate boarding school for kids who are going through like serious traumatic things. And he had to go there for 6 months and he couldn't see his family like for Christmas or anything like that. Like it was like, and I felt like it was my fault. Like, so y'all, like, it's like whatever like kind of things you're going through, like I was literally like, coaching hurts people. It's not only like it's a neutral thing, like it could hurt people and it's wrong to experiment with human lives. It could destroy families. And like I felt horrible. It turned out that that was the thing that like he desperately needed. Like he like, and again, I couldn't see it at the time, but his family has contacted, like we've been in contact since. And they were like, if you hadn't coached him, he could have taken like literally in 4th grade his own life. Like it was like that serious, like of a situation. They were like, thank God you were there. But at the time, I couldn't see the big picture. And I had no idea that like it would be okay. That actually happened with a couple people at the beginning. But that like I could have stopped then. I could have been like, yep, sticking with teaching. But there was a part of me that was like, I know that like in my heart, I could see that there is good and bad in the world, but I knew that coaching could do more good than harm. And I was like, I don't understand. Like, I sometimes when I'm coaching people, like, I'm just like coming up with like the best thing that I can say at the time. And sometimes I'm going to get it wrong. And I know that, but I feel like deep down, like, it's like what I'm supposed to do in the world. And I don't know if you feel like that too. I think that a lot of us, especially in this profession, feel like that, you know? And for me, I'm like, I don't know why I have this feeling. I don't know why people have the kind of experiences they have, but I trust that like if I'm going in, just like what Sarah was saying, like with my like I'm doing the best I can. There was no way you could have known that giving her that advice would have her ghost you. If you had, you wouldn't have done it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But it's like there's a saying like you're either learning or you're earning, learning or earning. So it's like from that experience, I think that you can choose to use this as an experience where you learned, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was something I think that I like to be like, I was supposed to learn something in this moment. And I'm going to take that moment, I'm going to learn from it, and I'm going to do something else with it. So what do you feel like you learned from that?
I learned more the value in letting the clients tell you what they need as opposed to you telling them what they need.
Mm-hmm.
That was like my biggest takeaway. But I honestly, like when I remember when I like reflected on all of it, I was like, I think I did pretty good. Like it could have been like,
Right.
no idea her reasons. And there's like a million reasons why it could have happened. And I actually did really good with that one, like not making it mean too much about me. But I still think it was like kind of like a shocking experience as the new coach, first client. And it was like, oh, okay, she's just like not responding to anything. And I tried like, I was really happy with how I showed up through that, just asking like, hey, do you need anything? Like, how can I support you? Like, let me know if you need to reschedule some sessions. So I felt like I liked how I showed up during that. And it definitely taught me like how to manage my mind through that experience.
Oh yeah.
And you know, just keeping it in like that's her mind and her reasons and doesn't mean too much about me.
And maybe if you hadn't gone through that experience, like within this situation, maybe your clients might not be getting results in 2 weeks or 2 months.
Right.
It made you a better coach and things like that. So within that, I want you to think about like within your business, that's actually happened. People left, but then you got more people.
Yeah.
So your brain, your subconscious is like generalizing like the memory, and it's like, yep, people leave and then don't come back. It's like, yeah, they don't come back, but maybe other people do, and I'm still safe. So it's like generalizing, deleting, and distorting the wrong pieces of information. It just got confused because it thought that piece of information about people leaving you was really important to keep you safe. But we just need to show your brain like it's actually not keeping me safe anymore. It's having me freak out with all these clients and being like, they're getting results too quickly. This is a big problem, you know? So how can you talk to your brain and be like, hey, I really appreciate you keeping a lookout for me, but let's go here. Okay. Let's say they all leave. You're not making any money. Like financially, and this is what I was saying to someone, Shanna, is like, and I think Demetria, I mentioned it, it was like having that contingency plan. This is the contingency plan. So it's like, what can you do to make yourself feel safe, even if everybody quits? Everybody leaves tomorrow. No one signs up.
Well, I know I would be okay financially, like because I'm living at home. I'm
Okay.
fortunate to, like I don't have to worry about food in my mouth, roof on my head type of thing. But I just feel like it'd be so sad because I wouldn't have like anyone to coach.
Yeah. So you'd be sad for a bit. And guess what? You know my ass is going to be there to coach you and help you through anything that like is going on. And then after you felt sad for a while, then what would you do? Would you just give up on this like insanely amazing, like you could, and also anyone could quit at any time. Like you can stop at any time and it doesn't mean anything about you at all. It's literally everyone's on their own journey and there is no judgment here. But look at you. Look at this that you've created from nothing. This didn't exist in the world. The Confident Eater program like was literally non-existent. So, and thinking about all the people that like I think you're meant to help. Look at all these. You've done so much for this business. Like, would just be like, all right, I'm feeling sad. Maybe I'm like, yeah, you'd question things for a minute, but then what would happen?
I think that I'd go to like this positive place of like, I feel like I would get all the great testimonials. Like I could really talk about, and maybe I could even focus on like if I shifted my business, then if like really everyone got results in 2 months and then maybe I shift to a shorter program and I can market it as people just get results so quickly. I'm deciding to make it a shorter program.
Yes. Yes. And then what?
More clients come.
Yes. Because you know how to get clients now. How do you get clients?
Outreach, talking to people through messages, letting them know about my free offerings, like my Facebook group, upcoming webinar.
Yeah.
Posting content.
Yes. For sure. And one of the things that actually my client, she's like made like 300K. The one I just went on with, she literally is like taking the exact same content for her launch. And I was like, I think that's brilliant. Like literally like down to the picture. She's using the exact same words, exact same picture for this launch that she did for this last launch. And I'm like, hell yeah. Make it easier on yourself. The reason why I really wanted to start this business is I think that you got everyone who has this feeling that you want to do something in the world, to do something good for people, to help people. That's a completely new idea that doesn't exist in the world before you decided to start it. I don't think it should be that hard. I don't want it to feel as shitty as it does. And so that's why I'm giving you my formula and like all the things. I'm like, please just like don't give up. Like it's like, and if you do, but like that's totally fine also, but like you know what I mean, like, and I don't think that you are going to give up. Look at this. You know exactly how to get more clients, and the more that you do this, what's your favorite color also? Those
Like,
colors. But it's like within that, it's like you can see that this business isn't like, it's gonna work. It might take longer than, it might take 900 posts and 3 clients, like what I did this year. I'm like, that might be the case, but we're gonna start to figure out what your formula is. We're gonna start to figure out your conversion rate. You just have to do it consistently. And that's what I was saying to Shanna, is like, find out, like, literally, like, if I were to message this many people, I would talk to this many people, I would find out, I would get X amount of consults, and I get this amount of clients. It's just numbers. And then when you take this, the formula takes the drama out when you put data in front of it. And it's like, wait, it's literally just numbers. It's all of it is a numbers game. Like, just how many times can I do something that works and do that? So do you think you know what, like, if you were to guess right now, if you were to, and do you do cold and warm outreach, or just warm currently?
Both. Anytime someone follows me, I send them a message and just kind of ask them if, like, what they're dealing with, and that I can send them some posts that I think might help them.
Yeah.
So I do that. Maybe I get like, I don't know, like 3 to 5 new followers a week. So I do that with like 3 to 5 people. And then the rest is pretty much just the warm people. Probably 3 a day of talking to warm people.
Okay. So you do nurture 3. So let's just do it for the week. So this is like your weekly formula. So if you nurture 9,
Sure.
9 people, okay, so let's say like 9 people. I'm just gonna take that 9 people. Okay. And you also, this is genius. I've just started doing this. Y'all, I don't know why I didn't do this, but my friend Danielle from 200K, she was like, yeah, I like just literally like reach. Oh my gosh, there's so much going on in the chat. I love this. Great. Oh, good. Oh, I'm so glad. I love you guys so much. So I like literally like go through and I'm like, hey, thank you for following me. I think it's because I'm Amy's coach and we did an Instagram live today. Hey, thank you for following me. We did a giveaway. Like, literally just like copy and pasting. And it sounds like me, but I literally just like copy and paste that. And then I put them in my outreach tracker. And that's what I was doing, rage outreaching last week, not this one, but like something like that. Like, having that is genius. Like, it's like so simple, and then it doesn't feel like it's like a funky person, because they're following me. I'm like, okay, so if like you're like, it's like, go back to everyone that you follow and be like, hey, I just want to check in. Like, that could be a way that you do it. But like, if you do that, if you nurture 9 people a week and message these 3 to 5 new followers a week, how long have you been doing this?
Probably like consistently for like 3 months.
Okay. So this is the stuff that people aren't maybe seeing on the back end, because you're like, yes, like I've gotten all these people, but like we started working together only in October. So did you do it before we started working together? Like,
yeah, I saw like the idea of like sending new followers some sort of message of like, hey, like I'll send you some of my posts that you might find helpful based on your struggle. And that only works like 10% of the time, but that's still 10% of the time that people respond.
yes.
So I've been doing that probably about since October. And I would say since we've been working together, like the outreach has increased and trying to engage with people more, but I've been doing it somewhat.
Yeah. Amazing. So it's like, okay, so you've been doing this for 3 months. Now at this point, for 3 months, this is the formula. How many consults have you gotten like a month?
In January, I had like 6 or 7 consults.
Yeah.
Or sorry, not in January, December.
Yeah.
I haven't had any this month.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so
yeah,
we'll just with this as like a sample size. Like, maybe we'll even like be like, okay, I'll get 5 how many of those consults converted to clients?
4.
Okay. So let's just say like it's if you do this every week, then you'll get 6 clients, and then you'll get 6 consults, 4 clients. So now, if let's say that the craziest shit happened, that is probably never going to happen, Amber, but if this happened, then what would happen is you would just be like, all right, we're doing numbers. We've got this formula. we're going to do this. We're going to nurture 9 people. We're going to do these followers. We're going to get 4 clients. And what happens is if you need to, you can up the intensity. Instead of 9 people, maybe you do 18 people.
Mhm.
Like just up the intensity. But do you trust that this formula could work? Could
Yeah.
work. I'm not saying it's for sure going to work, but this is pretty damn close to it. And it's because you've had 3 months of testing. The reason why this program isn't like a very short program, like where I give you like 3, like just all the data. I'm like, here it is. The reason why we're together till March is because you guys have to test it and go through it consistently enough to get your formula. And then the second half of the program, we're then stabilizing. But you got to keep testing it so we know what works, and whatever doesn't work, we got to get rid of. But you got to test it in order to see if it works, you know? And then like you could do this with your posts, you could do this with other stuff too. But that's all you need to do to create that safety for you and your business. And how does that feel now? Like different than like, oh my God, like within this 2-month problem, like, you know, it's like, first off, I think that you've discovered that like the reason why I went in this direction is like, you said that like we've picked a different goal. So like you don't actually not know what to do with these people. You've got stuff to do with them, right?
Kind of. That's like one of my other thoughts is like,
Okay.
like when like I imagine them saying, well, what are we gonna do the next few months? And my brain goes, yeah, what are we gonna do? I don't know.
Okay, let's figure out what to do with them. Okay.
I need to decide that first, because if like they have that thought and I also believe that thought, then it will be like true for both of us.
Yeah, probably.
So-
So let's maybe like I think that you guys all have this. I think I did 5 steps to goal setting for you guys, but like the same kind of thing. You can use the goal setting thing. You can be like, we're gonna do goals now. We're gonna pick a different goal and it's gonna be great. That's what I do with my clients. Another thing that I will share with you guys, because it's very similar to the way that we do consults and things like that, is you can be like, not only are you going to get 2 months of all these results, but let's just like talk about your life. Like if they want to, you know, like you can do this thing. It's called the Wheel of Life activity. And it's just like the way we do consults. And this usually takes me like 5 sessions with people, like to go through all the areas where they are now, where they want to go. And you can even make them evaluate it, be like, what's working? What do you want to improve? What do you want to do differently for each of these categories? Like, and I'll share this with you guys. This is actually, Dorit and I met at Online Coach Accelerator. So this is from Stacy, but the rest of it's from OCA. And like, it's just like a fun visioning exercise. It's like, we're going to like create the vision of you who keeps off the weight for life. Like, where are you going to be 10 months from now, 10 years from now? Like, let's do this vision and start like planning it out. It's going to be helpful for them. It's going to be helpful for you. And I think that could be good. Do you think that would be enough for them too?
Yeah. Yeah. And like the client that I had, like I just most recently pivoted her goals with, she's like, oh, you can do life coaching? And I was like, yeah, I can do life coaching. It just like, I was like, we just take the same exact questions and things I do with you to eating, and we just apply it to different problem. So I have to like remind myself of that sometimes, because sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, like anything, binge eating, overeating, food, body, like totally got it. But then comes to life and I'm like, I don't know how to deal with life stuff. Like, but I just need to remind myself, like, it's the same process, like it's the same thoughts and questions. You just need to like transfer it over to a different problem.
Literally, it's a different problem. And if they want to stop and they're like, I don't want life coaching, I'm good, then we'll find more people.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that you have to be like, well, you're done. You can offer them. You can be like, and the way I do my renewal call is I'm like, hey, what are your 5 wins from this program? What's working? What's not working? What could you do? Or what's working? What could use improvement? And so it's like, I'll split stuff for everybody. Or not referrals, renewals. But like you can be like, hey, 5 wins from the program. What's working? This goes for like everyone that's in. What could use improvement? And what could you do differently? And so this is where you can be like, okay, like since you've met these goals, like let's just talk about these wins. Where do you want to go next? Like that kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be like another option. Like you could pause there and be like, hey, here's here is something that I have in mind for you. Like one of my clients, I think she was like, yeah, I'm good. And I'm like, okay, well, I noticed that like you wanted to start this business. She's a dentist and is going to add Botox. And I was like, I could probably help you with the marketing for that if you wanted, like, no pressure, but like, if you want, she wanted to be done like halfway. And I was like, yeah, you're totally welcome to do that. And also, I could probably help you with this because I've got some business experience. And she was like, oh, great. She was like, it wasn't like a thing for her. Meanwhile, I'm panicking. I'm like, please keep working with me, please. It'll be great. So I think that could be really helpful too.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause one of my clients, like the one that had to pay for her goals, she was like wanting to start her own business too. And she's like, yeah, like I just can do that, but I don't really need eating coaching. And I was like, well, guess who has their own business and has gotten business coaching for years? Like me.
So it's like,
okay.
yeah, help her with that too. It's like, it's like, again, like that's what I would start with the career coaching, and inevitably it was like, and then the breakup, and then this happened, and then this and this. And I was like, perfect. I was like, that's what happened for the 10 months. It's like, we would get you the promotion, and then it would be like all the other life stuff. If they wanted to stop, they stopped, but that was kind of a thing.
All right. I feel good about that. I know very unlikely that all my clients will leave me at once, but if they do, I feel okay.
Yes. And within the next coming weeks, we're going to be talking about like Monday Hour One, which is like a calendaring system. We're going to be talking about the annual plan. Like you're going to get even more tools. I was just thinking that long-term plan could be a good one. Like, cause this is what I called my long-term plan. Just this for the first year that I did it with people. And it's pretty self-explanatory.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be fun. Or the goal setting one, I think could be like other options,
Thank you. Yes, for sure.
Of course. Awesome. Thank you, Amber. Now, does anybody else want some coaching? If not, that's okay. I'll just check in with everybody. If you're working, I know Demetria said sometimes you're working, but I just want to see like how things are going. We're like halfway through. Dorit, since you have your camera on, thank you. I'm sorry. I'm not going to punish you for your face being on at all. I'm very glad to see you. How are you?
I'm good. I probably could use some coaching. I've been actually doing a lot of self-embodiment coaching. Because what's been coming up for me is this core belief that I can't make it on my own. And so I think I'm self-sabotaging succeeding in my business or showing up or yeah. So I've been working through that. Yeah, it's powerful.
Yeah.
I'm like, I've been struggling to move forward because of it. And I've not been sleeping. And I kind of by accident did this morning what you just took Amber through, where I was like, okay, what if I never made any money and I couldn't take care of myself and I ended up I ended up old and in a home. I'm like, I would commit suicide. Like I would not end up in a home. And so I had to go there and then we don't
want to go there. We don't want to do that. Please.
Then I decided to go move my body and work out. And I listened to Brooke's podcast on new starts, which really helped me like, oh yeah, that's not going to happen. Let me put some sense. And so I've just been working on feeling the feelings of, and where is it in my body of that I can't make it on my own, and changing the story. But in the meantime, it's been sabotaging my work. I have been practicing doing outreach. It's really hard for me. I struggle with finding people and knowing what to say.
Okay. Talk through that. But first I want to show you something. So there's like when you are, the reason why, and this is actually what we're going to do in 2 weeks, is I'm giving you guys like some teasers. Within your business, you're going to go through cycles, And you want to get to know your patterns, because those, like what we were talking about with your self-concept, the patterns will reemerge and you can learn from them and start to track them. So for me, when I'm like in a low value cycle, like I've got points where I'm like, oh, I know, like when I'm in a low value cycle, it's like not hitting the goal for the wait list. One person signs up for the program. I'm going to have the thoughts, nothing is working. I messed up, and I'm going to feel helpless and devastated. And here's what I'm going to do. And you're going to start to know, you're going to know your self-sabotaging ways. That's what you started us talking about. We have to write them down. You have to, and this is why I started you guys self-coaching the first week, is like, you've got to get to know your unintentional models. They're going to start to become familiar, right? And so what we want to do is you want to start to be like, okay, I'm going to be triggered whenever I see a post where someone's made more money than me and they're younger than me, or something like that. Like weird things are going to start to trigger you. You're just going to start to notice them. And I want you to start listing them down, being like, okay, these are the things that are going to trigger me. I know my triggers, like, or trigger, like blind spot, like something that's going to make me feel something and push this old cycle on me. Okay. So you're going to start to get to know them. You're going to get to know some of, and I think that someone posted and they were like, I'm having the same thoughts over and over and over again. You're going to start to know those thoughts. I'm sure you know them, the feelings, the actions, the results. You know what that low value cycle is now because you've seen it enough. And so what I like to do is I like to actually, I was talking to someone else the other day and I was like, there's that cycle. And then there's like the empowered cycle. It's like, okay, I know this unintentional low value cycle is going to happen for sure. It's just how my brain works and nothing has gone wrong at all. But I want to think about like the second I notice, I'm like, oh, I'm eating. Like for me, I like it was interesting. Like last week I slept on the couch like 3 nights a week and I was like, what is happening? I haven't done this since I was teaching. I was like, oh, we've hit an upper limit. We have hit an upper limit for my capacity to feel positive things. And so it was just really interesting to be like, oh, I full regressed. And it was like, okay, so every time I fall asleep on the couch, now I'm like, there, something is up. Let's check in and let's think about how I want to go about things instead. Or wine. Both of those things have been like vices for me in the past. And I'm like, if I notice
I
that,
had vodka this weekend and I don't drink.
I know you don't drink. So yeah, so that's a sign. That is a sign that your brain is like freaking out and is trying to, I don't know, I'm not sure if we actually talked about upper limits yet, but what happens is when your self-concept, oh my gosh, y'all, this is like such a good awareness. Okay. So I want you to think about your capacity to feel positive emotion, negative emotion, like all feel and experience like love, joy, money, like free time to yourself. We all have like a limit for that. This is from a book by Gay Hendricks called The Upper Limit.
I've read it. It's good. I should probably reread it.
Okay, so what's happening is I think you're hitting an upper limit problem.
Yeah, I am, because in the beginning, when I did OCA and did my first program and got clients, like I was so afraid to do the mock sales calls. I was like, no way, I'm terrified. So
Yes.
I didn't do them. Everybody in my group was better than me, but I was the one who signed clients first. And I've had great experience with clients. They're getting result. Like, I know I'm a good coach. So I think I hit my upper limit of like, you're proving that you can make it on your own. So we're going to bring you back down to where you can't make it on your own. And I'm in this place.
You've been hanging out there for a little bit and it's time to get out. Especially if you're going back to doing outreach again. Your brain hates that. Your brain is like, nope, different. We don't like that. And I want you to think about, like, for everyone who doesn't know what the upper limit is, I want you to think about like your capacity is like a cup, and it, like, you get to like the limit of the cup and it's about to spill over, but you have the capacity to like grow your cup. But your brain doesn't know that. So instead of like trying to help you build up and build into a different new self-concept, your brain's like, let's just take some water out. Let's create like the level we feel comfortable at. And it's actually, I'm literally like, y'all, I love that we're getting into this, but it's literally like in module, where's the upper limit problem? It's coming. Here it is. Yeah, week 12. So downward spirals to upward spirals. Cause I'm like, it's about that time, then everyone's going to be freaking out and you're actually going to be doing maybe well. And have you ever heard of the river of misery?
No.
Okay, so essentially is like there's you at level, let's say you're level 3 Dorit right now, like you've done through 3 big life transformations and you're about to hit level 4. And in between level 3 and 4, even though you're going in the positive direction, your brain's gonna freak out. And I said, potential river of misery ahead. I was like, this is, yeah, you guys, fun fact, this is what's coming. And so just know that you're gonna be riding the rapids and it actually isn't gonna feel good, even though things are improving and you're getting better. Like we went from like being in the freeze response to outreach to like now you're actually doing it. You're just feeling like, so it's actually you're deactivating. So it's actually a good thing, but your brain doesn't like it. So it's like, it's actually wanting to go back here. And so we need to understand that and then be like, okay, I hear you. And also like, we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going through this river of misery. So that's what we just need to do now is like figure out, okay, so to get you through the river of misery, we have to figure out your empowered cycle. This is you on the rapids with a paddle. And you're like, okay, what do I want to look like as I go through that? And then I also want you to start tracking, this goes for everybody, when you're in a high value cycle. So when you were signing those clients, what happened, Dorit? There was a model going on. And this is your formula. So it's like whatever you were doing in that time, we must go back to that time when you were in a high value cycle. And again, your brain isn't going to like it because it's very comfortable here. But yeah, what was going on? What were you doing in this cycle where you were signing clients and kicking ass?
Well, I remember when I joined OCA because I had to borrow the money to do it. Had to make money to pay it back and prove that I was worth the investment. I remember thinking, no matter what they ask me, I'm going to do everything they say, even if I feel scared, because I've always let fear stop me with everything. And I did, and it was painful. And I think I cried through the whole 3 months of OCA. Like,
I know.
It was really painful and scary. But it was, you're in a group with other people who just love on you. And yeah, I think I didn't let my brain go there. It was like, no, we don't have time for doubt. We're just going to do it was also, I think now I'm really practicing stepping into my own leadership instead of that's what it was. I was still in the safety of being told what to do. And right now I'm in a place where I'm trying to decide what works for me and what to do. And that's really scary.
And I would just be wary because your brain thinks it's stepping in. I forget when this happened, but I was like, oh, it was a 200K. It was not to start a group. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to start a group. I was going to start this group in May. And I was like, yep, I'm doing it. It's happening. I actually was going to start a group last January. And they were like, no, like you should probably wait until you have like things. So I was kind of like, yeah, like I want to do it. And there's like points when you want to like listen to that. And there's also points when your brain is like trying to bring you down, and like freak you out a little bit. So we just want to be wary about, what the aligned leadership feels like to you. Like to you,
yeah.
Like, when that feels like we just want to always check in and be like, is this self-sabotage or is this aligned? Is this like, just checking in and being like, what is the aligned leadership feeling like to me? And so what does the aligned leadership, the real aligned leadership, what does it say to you?
It says that I'm okay to trust in myself and to take what I need and what feels good and just keep taking action and evaluate, like see what I'm getting from the action, but maybe not like I made one post, did I get a client? Not that kind, just
yes,
Um, I
What did
guess
what
unattached evaluation.
yes. And what in the world did you do when you said I'm going to do everything I say? What were the things that you did during that time?
I created a program the best I could, having never done it.
Hmm?
I still didn't do direct. That was the only thing I didn't do. I did not do direct outreach. Like I have a
Maybe this is your upper limit. Maybe you're
yeah, this is my upper limit, which is so funny because I love talking to people. But when I feel like I'm talking to people because I want something, it doesn't feel good. And we already had this conversation where I'm like, I always just want to give. Like I struggle to even want to charge because I just want to help people, make people feel the best they can.
Have you ever gone and done free coaching for people?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel like they got what kind of results did they get compared to the people who are paying?
I think I helped them to feel better, but not much shifted.
What would be a better gift to somebody, helping them shift or feel?
Shift. And I still am in that people pleasing of like, I want you to feel better instead of sometimes, no, I'm going to coach you so you get the life you want.
Mhm. Well, you don't have to go into that zone if that's not authentic to you either. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't mean like I was thinking about like it's like I'm pretty much like let's get to work, let's do the things. But it's like I'm not like do the things. Like I'm like that's
Right,
not
right.
like it's like if Dorit, if you were like yeah, let's get to work and do the things, I'd be like who is this here? I'd be like, unless this is a side of you that like you were really like it's authentic to you that you haven't shown to us yet, that could be, but
No.
I don't think that's you. And so it's like, what if
I'm going to hug you along the way.
I know? I was like, I can feel the hugs through the screen. I know everybody can. So I think that like if you were to like you create a program, what else did you do? Like, did people just like show up from nowhere or did you talk with them?
No, I spoke to people.
How?
So I did. I was in a couple groups and I was friends with the people who owned the groups. I had taken certifications, spiritual certifications with them. So I asked if it was okay to ask people if they would get on a call with me. And they were like, yes, of course. So it was easier. It was like market research. I mean, we talked about this. It was easier to get on a call. Offering people to get on a call with me, not trying to sell them anything, but just getting information, just seeing where they were, what they needed, and how I could help them but the help was because it was market research. It was like I was gathering information to put it out there for free, for content. It wasn't, there's a disconnect, I think, for me. I'm just realizing as we talk.
Yes, I'm realizing lots of
that,
things.
that it's something with the charging. Because three of those people, they said, oh, I want to work with you just from the market. Like I never actually had to do a sales call. They signed up just from the market research.
Right. So let's just like, this is what you should be doing on a consult.
I don't even know at the moment. My brain is like, you don't even know how to get a consult. I haven't had a consult in, months and months.
I want you to think about like, instead of thinking that you're trying to get a consult, you're like literally just trying to talk to people about where they are, what they need, and how to help them.
That feels better.
That's literally, so can we call it another name? Do you want?
Yeah, I mean, I made a commitment to offer 10 people an hour of my time to see what they needed, how I could help them and give them something tangible. Thinking that, oh, well, this will give me more content.
Okay. Okay.
But maybe I should be thinking that's an invitation so they get to see what it's like working.
Well, again, we don't want, if that's what freaks you out, if you're trying, then we don't want to do that. But I want you to think about, like, every consult should be used for content.
Yeah, it's funny. I think I compartmentalize everything. So that's why I also get stumped on I have nothing to say, because
Yeah.
this is a coaching call. It's not content. This is a direct outreach. It's not content. And I think weaving.
Yes, because your brain is deleting and distorting the fact that they are the same. Totally generalizing. It's generalizing that anything for free is something that can be good and helpful and wonderful, and anything that paid is shit. It's like something bad that you shouldn't do.
Yeah.
So, like, within that, it's like, okay, we're just using it for it's like, okay, everything that I use, I'm going to use for content. But it's like, why did you start this business, Dorit?
Because I'm meant to do it. Like, it's what I love. I not only love helping people, I love helping people heal and create change that lights them up. And when I can see the light bulb of the aha moment, or something happens for them that they didn't think could happen, that's like gold. I'm gonna cry. That's like gold.
Yeah. Don't you think that that's gold for them too?
Yes, I guess it is.
Have you been coached before and had those aha moments yourself on the other side of things?
Oh yeah.
Isn't it the best feeling ever? I get coached 5 times a week. Like, I do 2 coaching calls with self-coaching scholars. I have a personal coach, Sarah. I have a hypnotherapist, Johanna. I have 200K coaching. I literally have 5 people coach me a week because I am addicted to that aha moment of like, oh my God, this just shifted my entire reality. I need this in my life. Like, I love coaching. I spend more money on coaching than anything else, and I wouldn't change it for the world. There are people that like are missing that aha moment because that could be having those aha moments. There's so many people that you are meant to help, I think. Right?
Yeah.
So when you're thinking about that, those people and that kind of a situation, if you're getting on a sales call with someone, I want you to imagine someone getting on a sales call with you, or a market research call, whatever, and they're like excited to talk to you.
Yeah.
I think that all of us imagine like consults for some reason being like, they come on, they don't want to work with you. And because that happens at the beginning sometimes, there are people that like, nope, I don't want to work with you. I'm like, well, why did we book a call, my friend? I'm like, what's going on for you? But that's okay. But it's like, the people are booking these calls with you because they want the aha moment. And they want you to give them the aha moment.
Yeah.
So I think that like there's a thought that like if they're paying for it, it's like hurting them in some way. Or something like that. But
no, it's I'm not worthy of being paid.
Yeah. And we can notice this thought that would clearly had a very visceral reaction for you. And I want you to know that you can have this thought and you can still do things. You can work through it. Like, I had a thought it's like I've had so many crazy thoughts this past year. It's been wild. But like within my business and things like that, like, oh, I'm not worthy of someone loving me and staying with me. Like that was like the Rob one that I've been working through. Phenomenal. but like I've had those thoughts, and it's okay to have if we didn't have thoughts like this that were like deep seated, like probably related to big T trauma, like things like that, like I don't think we'd be human. But it doesn't mean that you can't have this thought and still move forward. It's always an or. It's like an and. It's like I have thoughts that are really shitty that I notice and I see them, and I'm going to work through them, and I've got special time set aside to work on them. And right now I'm just going to compartmentalize a smidge and be like, hey, yep, I'm having those thoughts again, and it's still worth it for these people.
Yeah.
And I know you're going to take time to work through this thought, but don't think that you are going to have a magic moment when you've worked through all of these thoughts, and then you're going to be able to like help people and be free of negative thoughts. You know what I mean? Because I think that's what we think. It's like, we think like at some point, like where I'm at in my business, like 120K in, and it's like that I don't have those thoughts anymore. I do all the time. I'm like, literally like actually this morning when you got on the call, it was like a rough call, like about like some serious, like right before this, I was like, it was a really intense call. And I literally went and I was like, I'm going to go to the bathroom. And I literally like went to Rob and I was like, I don't think I should have a coaching anymore. I'm scared coaching is hurting people. I just need to freak out and have a hug. And he was like, okay, yeah, it's helping. It's okay. You've got a whole group of people that's literally waiting for you right now. And you need to like get on this call. And I was like, you're right. Okay. But literally like at 10 o'clock, I was having those thoughts that I should just quit it all, work for Apple. That's my favorite thought right now. It's like, I'm just going to quit it all and work for Apple. I'm like, what do I think Apple's going to be like? I'm not going to have negative thoughts at Apple. I'm probably going to have negative thoughts at Apple because I'm a human. It's like, yeah, it's going to be 50-50. And you don't have to subscribe to the idea of 50-50, but like, I like to, because I'm like, you know what? If it's going to be crap thoughts and good thoughts, either way, I want to do it doing what I'm meant to do, making the difference in the world.
Yeah. Getting used to that, because a part of my survival pattern has been everything's great, I'm okay. So being used to it's okay that things aren't great.
It's not, I don't think there's ever going to point, I don't know, but I don't think there's ever been a point in my life, nor do I think there will ever be a point in my life when everything's like actually okay. Like for everything. It's like, that would be so nice. And I think our brains like literally think that's going to happen. And it's like, not gonna, as far as I've experienced, and I've been coaching myself, like literally for the first 4 years of my coaching experience from 2017 to like, honestly, I fell off the horse like a lot this year with my self-coaching, but every single day on trips, on planes, I was coaching myself every single day. And I still have negative thoughts all the time. That I should quit it. I'm hurting people. It's all wrong. It's like, okay. So those thoughts can still be there and you can still help.
Yeah.
How's that feel?
Feels good. It's so funny because I thought, oh, I don't want to come on here and be such a downer with
I
my
think
I could just commit suicide.
Because I think it brought us all back to our why. You were meant to do this work. I really do think. And you're going to do this work, and there are going to be shit thoughts, and it's okay. Nothing is going wrong. You're just a normal human with a brain who is meant to be really, really successful because you got some phenomenal ideas to change the world and make it a better place.
Thank you.
Of course. I love you, lady.
I love you too. Thank you all for the messages I couldn't read, but I copied and pasted so that I can read.
Oh, good. I was like, I can't see them either. Where are they? Oh, so good. Oh my gosh. Wait, I will go back. Oh, wow. These are great. I love these things. Also, great. Oh my gosh. Excellent. Okay. I'm posting this in here. Sarah posted an intro message. So going back to like how to talk with people, Dorit, I'm going to post, I'm putting them here, but this was like,
Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate you.
A total stranger would love to get to know you. I see that. I want to know it gets you into being a coach, listening to that. Yeah, charging and giving to them. And like, so I like to think about currency as like the energy. It's like a currency. So it's like you're exchanging all the currency from you. It's an exchange. It's not an either or. You know what I mean? I love that. Yeah. And I found that when I did coaching for free with my person who I ended up coaching for 3 years, one of my best friends, who went with me through everything. She, I coached with her for free. She's an amazing coach. And I missed a session. I was late to all the sessions and I didn't do any of the work, didn't listen to any of the podcasts. She did 5 free sessions with me because I missed the 6. And then in March of the following year, I like was going through like a break with my now ex, but we ended up getting back together because of the coaching. It was all good, but it was like with one of those things that like I found that when I did things for free, I didn't take it seriously and I needed it. And it was really, really helpful as an elementary school teacher to be working, and I did tutoring and I did after school. Y'all, like, now you know I love coaching. Like I literally like worked 5 jobs to pay for coaching that last year. I was teaching yoga, I was doing tutoring, working after school. I overnight babysat once a month. And yeah, and I was an elementary school teacher. I did all the things and I helped out at my family business. So it was like all those things, but it really is like, I know something that you're supposed to do in the world, and paying for it is actually a really, really wonderful gift that you get to give people. Because then they get to take their own life seriously, you know? And it's an exchange. Okay. I love you. Amazing. I'm just going to keep going down the line. Deb, you're next for me. How are you doing? I love you.
I kind of feel like Dorit, like, I don't want to be a downer, so I don't want to talk today.
Hey, well, you never have to talk if you don't want to talk.
Please be a downer so I'm not alone.
Be honored to hold a space for you. Like
It's so funny, because things are going just fine, but my brain is like not wanting to believe that. So it's kind of interesting. So last week you had talked about like all creating a formula, right? Like,
yeah.
This is where, of course, I have to take that and use it against myself instead of being like, oh, that's really good information.
No.
Because I was like, why am I doing this? And then I traced it back to what I thought about that. I was like, oh, so Instagram's not doing anything for me. So I don't know if you've noticed, I have not like hardly posted at all this week. I just felt like, what's the point of doing all this work? Like I need to focus more on these other things. And then I felt very scattered all week. Like, I feel like I've been like exhausting myself with nothing to show for it. And my husband is even like, he took Friday off and he's like, I'm going to take Friday off so I can take our daughter to the doctor that I was going to take her. It was like an hour away. And that way you can take the weekend off and you need to just stop. I was like, okay. Mm-hmm. Not only did I not get a lot done during that time, then I worked all weekend too. And it was like, I just find myself not being productive while burning myself out. And I'm in a very low value cycle right now, obviously. Yeah. But the interesting thing is I've had 2 consults come up this week, which is why I think it's funny.
I think too. It's not, you don't have to be in this cycle for your business to work ever.
Yeah. And I had the one consult and she's been emailing me back and forth about extra questions. So fine. And then I have one on Friday. But the interesting thing is when you were talking about in the beginning, I can't remember what you were talking about, but you were like you were telling us to like enter our information on that sheet. And I noticed other people's packages and I was like, price too low. My program's too long. Like this person's charging this much for way shorter. Like, what am I, just like one more thing I'm adding now that I'm questioning and like kind of feeling like, ugh, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I know in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to pull out of it, but it just sucks to be in this place where you're just like not feeling it. Mm-hmm. I always know I'm going to get out of it. It's just like, not
That's
fun to
good because sometimes
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like you can get out of it.
Yeah, I always know I'll get out of it, by my other thought is like it's gonna come up again. Like
Mhm.
it's just this cycle that happens.
Yeah. Hence why we call them cycles. Very
Yeah.
fun. You know,
And I'm gonna throw myself under the bus and tell you my video was off because I was trying to multitask. Because I'm in this cycle, right? I'm like, okay, I can like listen and I can like be like responding and so I'm like just doing a lot of like crappy work at the same time. And when you were like, oh, I'll ask Dorit because her video's on, I'm like, I need to turn my video on because I need to be called out today.
I'm really, really glad that you were able to share all this with us. I think that all of us have been in this place before where we use some sort of thing to mess with us. I do also think that you are hitting an upper limit because you think business is going well and your brain's also trying to self-sabotage a little bit.
Yeah.
Potentially. What do you think?
Yeah.
So it was kind of like looking for something to fuck you up.
I feel like this happens every time things start going well for me.
This happens for everybody. So fun fact,
Okay.
you're not crazy. It's like literally like, okay, y'all, I haven't told like anybody this.
Let me
Like,
turn my volume up.
yeah, I haven't told anybody this, like including like my best friends. But 2 nights ago, actually, Rob was like, I think we're gonna get engaged before the end of the year. And I was like, great. Of course I've been freaking out all week. I've been like, everything's gonna go to shit and he'll probably die. And then like all this, like, and like, then I'm also gonna, well, it's like, I'm just gonna have to like watch everyone in my lifetime. My grandparents aren't doing so great. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? I was like, oh, yep, upper limit. I was like, that was it. And like, also like, I was like almost engaged before. So it was like, just a lot of stuff came up. And I was like, but then I was able to be like, okay, it's just an upper limit. What do I need to do? And I got coached and I was like, I'm still feeling this need to freak out. I'm still feeling this need to freak out. Okay. So like what I do when I get into these, like when I realize it's an upper limit happening, I'm like, what else do I need to do to feel safe? Why don't I feel safe right now? Where am I at? And I don't think that you feel safe right now for some reason. And we have to figure out why. Because once we figure out why, then we'll be able to like problem solve for it, you know? Because I think that your brain doesn't feel safe with the pricing. I think it doesn't feel safe on Instagram. It doesn't feel like the work that you're doing is safe. And we got to figure out, like, is it because you think that the work is going to be like worthless, like in the end of. Oh, I think that your little headphone thingy might have done something funky. Not just yet, but keep trying. Not just yet. Oh man, this is good stuff. I mean, I can ramble until you get it going. You guys know that. I'm very good at rambling.
Can you hear me?
Now I can.
I hit the mute button. That was weird. Okay. See, maybe I wasn't supposed to say this. I was like, I hate to go here. And then you couldn't hear me.
It was like, yeah, tell me.
Sometimes one time a coach said this to me and I've always had in the back of my mind, it's like there must be something about your niche that you don't feel aligned with, because I've never had to lose a lot of weight. And so sometimes, like, I was even thinking about this when you were talking with Dorit. I was like, maybe I should just be like a 40s transitional coach. And I don't want to change the C. But of course, that feels so free and easy right now. I'm sure if I changed it, I would have lots of thoughts about that next week.
No, tell me what they would be. Like, what would your thoughts about like being a 40 transitional coach? What would that be?
Yeah, just like, it's fun. It's like, we get to explore. I'm already seeing, I could think this already. So many.
You know my tricks now. It's like,
I'm like, we do this with weight coaching every time. So many areas of their life, and it's a different thing every week, and I have these beliefs that like people just think like weight loss is so miserable and heavy and like not fun, and I want to do fun things, and that's why my people I work with are so fun, and they're weight loss people.
I'm just glad that you're like identifying these things.
I'm just like, there was a coach once that was like, our brains are lying liars. And it's so funny when I'm like saying things out loud, I'm like, there's the lying liar again.
You've got to say that out
But
loud.
it feels real. It feels so real when you're thinking
Yes.
it.
Yes. And like, I want you to say these things out loud. Like, I want you, because that's what makes them not true. And I'm going to also tag another podcast. Stacy did a podcast about her postpartum anxiety. And it was really interesting to hear about like how she would like say things out loud and be like, and then the gondola is going to fall and it's going to crash and I'm going to like be punished because I'll be dead and my son needed me and then he's going to die, because it was like, oh my gosh, it's like, we just need to sometimes get those thoughts out and be like, okay, so now that you're seeing those thoughts out there, how do you feel? Could be like an element of truth to it too.
What'd you say?
If there's an element of truth to it still for you, that's okay.
Yeah, I guess the thing that comes to mind is just like almost like it just has to work itself out. Like I there's no getting out of where I am right now, or like
it will get faster. And so it's like, first off, knowing that. Second off, the fact that you had a week of a low value cycle, that's pretty impressive. This whole summer, I was in a low value cycle for like 4 months. So
that's
it's there.
yeah.
There. 7 months my first year. And like, so I know the low value cycle, and it can feel really funky. Actually, you know, it's funny. This was supposed to be our topic, I think, of like that I moved for today. So it's funny. I think it's funny that we were like, yes. But I want you to know that like, I don't want your brain to feel trapped. To be like, hey, we can change the circumstance whenever we want. Totally fine. We can change it. You're not forced to be here at all. We could stop the business whenever we want. Like, we don't have to keep going. It's okay. You're safe here. But what I found is when I tell my brain, like, I'm like, hey, we're safe. We could leave it all on the table. We made a good amount of difference. Like, one of my clients this summer was like, you've changed my life so much. Like, that's literally enough in the world. And I got to the point where I actually felt like I was like, I have done enough. Like, I've done enough with my business, and it could be complete right now. But there was this little voice inside me that was like, not yet. Like, I really don't want, it's like, I really do love this. And I do still want to keep going through this. And I'm so glad I did, because I wouldn't be with you guys if I didn't at all. You know, and you don't know your people that are coming your way. But I'm going to tell you, I already know they're pretty phenomenal if you choose to keep going.
Yeah, 100%. I'm going.
Okay,
There's not even a doubt in my mind.
So you can change it anytime. You're safe. You don't have to, but then what comes up?
I just keep coming back to like one of my favorite thoughts, which is like, maybe I'm doing it wrong, or I'm never going to figure out how to do it right, or it's just going to be painful, but I will figure it out. Like, I really want to work on just making decisions and not, obviously this is a point of all of it, not second guessing it all the time, like seeing somebody else's and be like, you know what, that's great. And I can change it. Like you said, maybe after you have 3 more clients.
Yeah, of course. You can change it right now if you want.
I know.
But I think like these thoughts might be like the thoughts that Dorit had, like, I'm doing it wrong. I'm not worthy of being paid. It's like, I'm never going to figure out how to do it right. It's going to be painful. This is an interesting one. It's going to be painful, but I will figure it out. Like really, really interesting. And
That just seems like truth to me. It's going to be painful.
yeah. Okay. So
Like it's the 50-50. Like,
is that within the, it's going to be painful, but I'll figure it out. Like if that's the one that feels like the most true,
mhm.
it's like there are two ways we can go about it. You can either give your brain enough reasons to go through something uncomfortable and figure it out and remind it that it's not going to die, and like literally be like, hey, we're not going to die. It's going to be okay. Yep. Doesn't feel great, but it's okay. And then there's the other side of things where you can go in and be like, it could be painful, but maybe it doesn't have to be. Maybe it does, but maybe it doesn't. And that's why I said be careful about using the 50-50 even against you.
Mm.
Like within the thought ladder thing, I put that, and I'll include that too. But within like, and also if anyone needs to rally, like feel free to rally. And I love you and I'll see you next week. But like within the thought ladder, updated. It's like just being like, and this could help you too, Dorit, like with any of those, everybody with those thoughts that come up and being like, yep, I noticed that I'm having this thought that like it's going to be really painful. Noticing it and being like, yep, I keep having that thought and it's happening and it's okay. And it's like, but I'll figure it out. It's like, and then you can go be like, maybe it's going to be painful, but maybe it's not. Sometimes it's going to be painful, but sometimes it's not. And I want to know, what do you want as the alternative to painful? Like, what does your brain want instead of a painful growth of a business?
I want it to be what I teach to my clients, which is how can it be easy and just relax into it? Yeah, it can be challenging and still done with ease in a way.
Yeah. Does it feel believable for you?
For them, it does.
Wait, for what?
For my clients, it does. Like I believe it can be that way for my clients.
Like when you were going through
Yes.
your weight loss journey.
I like to like compare it to, I always come back to like exercise.
Mhm.
Like I can challenge myself, but I'm never going to ask myself to run because I hate it. And there's so many other ways to exercise.
Yes.
Right? So I'm like, I'm just going to go to the gym because I love it so much. But sometimes I still have to motivate myself to go, but it's so much easier than if I was like, you have to run.
Yes. So it's like,
So
we have to find the formula for the pieces of your business that are working very well, by the way, that like you can motivate yourself to do, and we can leave out the running. If whatever, like, whatever is running for you, we don't have to keep it. But I think that like, it's like we can notice these thoughts, like these are like the thoughts that, and I promise us like, but the like these thoughts of like the low value cycle thoughts. It's like, okay, it's like I didn't get productive. And just being like, yep, I'm noticing I'm thinking that. I'm not gonna have anything to show for it. There's no point in me doing this work. I'm doing all these other things, like, and just being like, okay, yep, I'm having these thoughts again. Okay. And you'll start to like notice them. And I want you to like notice them and write them down, put them in the group. Anytime anyone has these thoughts, there's so much power in getting these thoughts out of your head. Okay.
I think another one I like to think is it's not working, because I have that with getting coached. Even sometimes I'm like, it's not gonna work. It's not working anyway. So let's take this time and like use it for this.
Yeah, of course.
So
I just know your brain is gonna keep having that.
And then I always feel so much better when I get coached. So it's so interesting.
Yeah. So I want you to like just notice those thoughts, write them down, even if it's not in a perfect model. Like everybody, do not feel like you have to like make it like this perfect thing in order for you to put it in the group. Like post whatever's coming up, even if you're like, this isn't productive and I feel upset, but I just need to tell somebody about it. That's
Mhm.
okay. Like that's what this group is literally here for. That is what you're paying for. Is for you to not be okay. You're not paying to be like a perfect version of yourself, but like being like, yep, I'm noticing it's not working. And it's like, and then what? It's like,
You know what's interesting? I just had something hit me,
tell
which
me.
is that like when you're in these low value cycles, you don't see anything that serves you. Well, most things. Like last night, I had this perfect, beautiful plan to like be in by this certain bed by this certain time and do all my thought work and do all these things. And then my 17-year-old who never wants to hang out with me was like, Mom, let's go on a coffee date. Will you take me? And I dropped everything and I was like, I have this choice. I can either do this thing that I feel like I've been needing to do or I can go hang out with my child. And I chose my child. And then I used it against myself later.
Yeah. I'm like,
And I was like, see, you're not doing this. You're not following through on your calendar. You're blah, blah, blah. So I'm already seeing there's so many, when you're in that low value cycle, it's so funny how you just completely like don't see all the ways, all the ways you're succeeding, I guess.
yeah.
Or living the life that you really want to be living. And
it's because your brain is like, it's too happy. Like it's literally like we were doing too much, we're too successful. It's an upper limit. But when we talked about like with the polyvagal theory, when your brain gets to this place of like, and I like to know the science behind it. I feel like it helps me a lot, like just to understand like, but what it's called is that your neuroreceptors see anything that could, even now good things, as threats. So when you're in an activated low value cycle heightened state, what happens is your brain is literally like, it's here and it's like, yeah, and it actually feels very comfortable here. It actually feels good to it because it feels better to be here than at the next level here. Doesn't make sense, but it's literally like you have to train yourself to be like, have the capacity for safety to be like, hey, like I hear you. It's okay. I'm safe. I can make it through this. Like, I know and then like also checking and being like, it's not working. It's like, okay, well, what isn't working? Like, let's get really like, and then that's where I'm like, the data versus the drama.
yeah.
Okay, so it's like, notice it, it's like, okay, what is your brain afraid of? Like if like Instagram isn't doing anything for you, like why would that be a problem?
Just a waste of time and energy.
And
And I could be using it in other areas.
Like what?
Doing the Facebook group, which I'm in the middle of creating. Podcast, reaching out to people, actually creating relationships in other ways.
So you can be like, okay,
relaxing.
Relaxing, yep. So it's like we can be like, yep, we could spend our time doing those things right now, but why do you want to do it instead?
Well, one of the things that's interesting is even if I'm not creating clients in like that direct way, I feel like it keeps my brain really clear on my messaging. And so it's good for my just creating content. It just keeps me very thinking about them all the time. Like I feel kind of very disconnected actually from my messaging. I'm like, what am I even talking about now?
So let's put in your formula. Guess what is in your formula that maybe wasn't in my formula?
Instagram. Posting more.
And I think it puts you in a high value cycle.
Yeah. It
so
keeps me like plugged in.
It does. And so I think that you like seeing my formula, you were like, it's never gonna work. And it has, like, your brain is literally like, Instagram has worked for you, hasn't it?
It has, and a
So the
roundabout way.
Yeah. So showing you that like my Instagram maybe hasn't worked for me in the ways that I would expect it to does
Mhm.
not mean that your formula should be the exact same as my formula. I want it to be the same as my formula for the first, like, for while you're at least in this program to test something else that could
Yeah.
be. But I don't want me showing you my formula, and I need to like tell everybody this, so, like, me showing you my formula does not mean abandon your formula.
Yeah, and I don't think you made like that wasn't you making it seem like that. Like I just it's interesting that my thoughts went there. Like you never made it sound like we had to follow yours. You were just giving us examples of like creating a formula for yourself and noticing what's working.
Yes.
So
But also, like, the thing is, like, as like someone who's leading a group, leading this mastermind, I could see how you could take that thought against yourself. And so that's why I want to clarify it. I hope I didn't sound like that, like just like
no, not at all.
working. But I think that there's some people that like they don't even know that there could be a formula for their in their business. It's like, so
Yeah.
I think Instagram is part of your formula. What are the other parts of your formula?
Right now, I'm in the process of creating a Facebook group. Like it's funny, I have it all.
That already worked for you to get these
Oh,
concepts, that it exists.
Jody Moore's website. I get clients from her. I'm on her coaching page.
Mhm.
Reaching out. That's a new one for me. That seems to have brought some new people in.
Think about your clients. Where have they come from?
I'm like, I don't want to say those ones. The first two is from my 6-week. I'm like, I don't want to do that again. I did a 6-week free beta group. And
Okay.
so my first two are still with me 2 years later. And then the other ones were from Jody Moore. I don't know where this one's coming from this one Friday yet.
We'll ask her.
Yeah.
It is assumption. It is a woman, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Amazing. So when you're thinking about those clients that have come out, it's like all of the things that you're doing are working. And I would say like I know you got like a lot of thoughts about the Facebook group. You don't have to make the Facebook group right now. So I want you to at least spend this whole week just doing the thing. When you're in a low value cycle, we don't add new things.
Okay. Well, the one thing that I have decided when I have it all ready to go, here's my thoughts about the Facebook group is it's just like learning something new, but I've worked through most of it. Not running for me is I'm not going to do lives right away. I'm going to do like little teaching things and putting them on there. So that's my kind of baby step. Like I'll put the teaching things on there and I'll answer questions and every week be like, okay, somebody else brought this question, even if it's just my own thing. Right. So that's my little, like, I'm going to not run right now. I'm just going to do this in my Facebook group and then do a few other things. Right. So.
Okay. Awesome. Like, if you want to, but
yeah,
I want to like,
I definitely want to, because I think I can offer a lot of value, which really drives me.
Yeah.
I want to do that.
We want to be like, okay, so like to get you like to move from this low value cycle, it's like, we're going to keep doing what's working.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the other, like, let's create a plan of action and
that's what I really need.
Let's create an empowered cycle. Like, it's like,
yes.
What am I going to do between now and it's like, so what can I do like to move the dial forward just a smidge so I can start to get out of the cycle? Like, what are things that have worked for you in the past when you've been in low value cycles?
Yeah, I think this is where the challenge comes in because of my belief that they just work themselves out. Then the problem with that is I'm not creating.
When was the last time you were in a low value?
Proof to my mind that I'm creating that myself. It's just happening.
Yeah. It could have been in the program. It could have been before.
Low value cycle. I can't put my finger on a specific time, but it feels like it comes up periodically. Probably it's just starting to post, even if it's
No, like if you can figure out when exactly it was, we can make it like a formula. Get out of the like, it's like there's a formula to get out of the
yes.
low values.
When was the last time? It's so funny because I feel like I've kind of been had a good run there for a while.
Right. I know. That's exactly what my brain is like. It's time. We're back.
I know. I can't even think about it. Yeah, there was a time, but I'm trying to put my finger on when it was.
Was it like when you were like coaching for Jody? Was it in certification? Like it could even be that long ago.
Oh, that long ago? Totally.
Yeah, just go to one of those times when you were in a low value cycle, not the last one, maybe.
When I first started CCP, probably.
Yeah. What happened?
I was just. So you want me to tell you what I was doing to create that?
Well, how did you get out of that?
Oh, how did I get out of that? I actually did a lot of scary things that I didn't want to do, and I felt my emotions a lot and created that trust. It's funny. I'm like, no, I don't want to. I'm saying that I'm like, I don't want to do hard things.
I know.
Yeah, but it was like, I think in that the difference, which I'm glad you brought this up, and I'm glad that my brain went all the way that far, because it feels so different when it's like you feel like you don't have a choice, like you're part of like a program and they're like, you're gonna be you paid 18 grand, and if you want to be certified you gotta like coach in front of all these people, and getting that same
buy-in, kinda.
Yeah, like doing that when nobody's watching you, or doing that when it's like you're accountable to you, right? That's what I want. I want to just like
intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation.
You what?
Intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. So that was
yes,
motivation.
Exactly.
And now you're getting this opportunity. Like I think that like when we were talking with like Amber about like the reason why like things happen, or I don't know what the reason why things happen, but it's like I think the lesson that you were supposed to learn at CCP was to learn how to be motivated externally. The lesson you're supposed to learn now to what you're supposed to do is internally. Yep. Dory, you guys have like the same.
Because the interesting thing is my biggest fear in life, like I would rather have the stomach flu for 2 weeks than speak in front of anybody.
Yeah.
And so like I've never been as afraid as I have going through that whole experience. And to like coach in front of master coaches and like to me, like that was such a huge, when I came out the other side, I was like, oh my gosh, you can do anything. Like you did this.
This is your next level. You're leveling up, and it's like they're coming back because it's like you're going to go. Now we're learning how to go from activated to regulated. So it's like you're at your level 3 and you're about to go to 4, and your brain's like, but we could stay at 2 actually.
Yes.
Like
yeah, I'm like pivoting, right? I'm like feeling it, and then I'm like, don't have to do that. I don't have to. It's easier over here.
Yeah, and you could stay there, but do you want to?
No, it's not easier. It's easier in that way, but long term, it's not. In the moment, it feels easier.
That's where we're at with it. And thank you guys for staying on. I really, really appreciate it, because I think this is so good. And I really hope that people go back and watch this. But it's like literally like being like, okay, I'm going to avoid regret. Like I want to become energized by this work. Like the hard work doesn't have to feel as hard. That's when it gets into like hustle, like gross, like
that's how it's felt this week. Like, ugh, what is all this for, right?
Thank you for speaking up. And then I'm really glad that you reached out, because I'm really proud of you, because like this could have been something that could have gone on for like months.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't going to raise my hand, so I'm so glad that you called on Dorit because
The universe. It was destiny. I'm like literally like the bio on your page. I was like, yep.
that was insane. I was literally, again, in my low value cycle, just like crickets. I hate this intro and nothing is coming to me. So I literally like copied and pasted that and just like was done with it. But I gave myself props. I was like, hey, she was only able to help me out because I did the B- work ahead of time.
Yes. And it's just a lot of but then your brain is gonna get familiar with it and it's gonna be like less scared. I promise. Like this, like it feels better. I promise. Once you know what your low value is like, once you get this, then it keeps getting easier and easier every single time. It just keeps getting better. It's not going to be like this forever. I swear. And I literally thought that people would tell me this, and they were like, I was like, liars. I was like, they are liars, and it is going to feel terrible all the time. It's a different. And I've heard this said, and I like hate myself for saying because I was so mad. I was like, "Are you for real?" But it really doesn't feel like the same kind of like freak out as much anymore. It takes getting to the point where you're like, okay, I've gone through like the bit, like it's like you are in the biggest shift of it right now. I promise it will be like the waves. It's like you are you're in the tide. It's not
like the riptide. And it's so interesting because I know I feel that. And yet everyone around me, like my husband's like, what? It's totally like you're consistently getting people, like you're making money. You're like, he's like, I'm so confused right now. Like, what is going on?
Again, because
and I'm like
in this like because here's the thing. I think your brain knows that like this for you and Dorit and everybody listening that next level is bigger. It's a big version of you. And I think it's like, this is who I'm supposed to be. But fuck. Like, oh my God. And then if you actually get through this, then it's real. Like you're actually starting a business on your own. And a lot of the things that are keeping you safe, you find other things to keep you safe.
So crazy. Can I ask you a really quick like housekeeping question? It'll take you 1 second to explain.
Yes.
How do you make those cute little arrows when you're typing?
Oh,
I tried Googling it. I couldn't figure it out.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I love this. Okay, you do two hyphens and then it's like that. And then
so easy.
I am so glad
like, those are so cute.
But it's very helpful because then you can see
it is.
And I think that I'm good at this because of my ADHD. And I have to like, when I'm having conversations with people, I'm like, and then Tinkerbell and this, and they're like, where? And I'm like, wait, where did I come from? I was like, oh, because it's this and this and this. And so like I have to go back and retrace my thoughts. I'm like, so yeah, I like the little arrows too.
Okay, I'm gonna use those little dot. Okay.
Ma'am, I think you're on the verge. You have a breakdown before the breakthrough. It's like that was.
Then I'm in a good spot.
You're in a wonderful spot, but please don't make the breakthrough feel as shitty as it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to feel this shitty. Like you can please reach out and I promise I will help you through it.
Okay. Oh, thank you.
I love you.
Love you.
Dorit, what's up?
I just have a quick question with the empowered cycle.
Yeah.
So I posted in the chat, my empowered cycle I'm recognizing has nothing to do with my business. Is that okay?
That is totally fine.
Okay.
And then just like check in and be like, okay, did this move me forward? Do I want to do things in my business? Okay. It's like, do I want to move forward with the person I want to be? If so, great. If it takes me away from who I want to be, then maybe we need to check in and see why.
Okay. Yeah, no, when I'm doing like personal challenges, like 75 hard, or I'm out in the world and I'm having fun and I'm meeting people just to have fun, I show up more because I feel like I have more of a life to share.
Yes, Dorit.
So I was like, that has nothing to do with my business, but
no, but like, that's like, I remember in OCA, they were like, go to the pool. I'm like, fuck, I'm not going to the pool. I'm like, I'm not. Are you kidding me? I just started my business. I'm like, I am panicking here. And so, yeah, go live life, check in after the week and be like, okay, I'm feeling a little bit more like myself.
yeah,
I can. And that's what I meant by like, stick with the things that are working, even if it's going, and please do not resent getting coffee with your daughter Like, don't make that connection.
Yeah.
Deb.
Oh my gosh. That was the best decision.
Yes. Yeah. I'm looking
son.
back at that. Because then I was like, see, it's not working. I can't even follow a calendar, right? So I didn't even notice that till I was getting coached. So now I'll be more aware.
Amazing. All right, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Thank you, Deb, for
And I hope, Dimitri, I hope you're doing well. I'm sorry I didn't do a check-in, but I'll start with you next week if you want. I know you're working. So I appreciate you guys all coming on, and I will be seeing you guys next week. Oh, also, I'm doing free coaching in my Facebook group, and so far, because I changed the time, no one's coming. So if you want some more one-on-one stuff,
When is it again?
it's usually at 11 Eastern, but it's this week randomly it's at 1 because I have a dentist appointment.
what day?
On Wednesday, tomorrow at 1 p.m.
I work now, so I can't.
That's okay. Look at you though. It's a good thing. You're keeping yourself safe. But if you guys want to come, I'll invite everybody. But
All right.
I
Thank
love you.
Love you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.